Hello. I'm making this video because I think God told me to. God told me to. I think God told me to share dreams, some dreams I had. Um, I'm an artist, and the main thing about for me being an artist is being able to recognize when something's right, when something's finished. Kind of like interior design, like you feel, when a room feels right, the balance of it. There's a certain recognition. When you look at a painting hanging on the wall, you can kind of see, if it's level. Basically, just I don't know. There's a certain recognition to it. And I saw this video on YouTube. It was if you YouTube Korean artist Hell, it's just basically this artist who draws. She basically just drew a bunch of pictures of hell, and it's about 34 minutes long, and it was it's hard to there's a certain recognition of just that I knew there's a certain logic to it. Like I knew that that hell exists, and that this is what it's like. The paintings basically showed the punishments for certain sins. It didn't show all sins because there's so many different types of sins, but it showed the punishments for the sin. There's a certain recognition that this makes perfect sense, that there's a certain logic to it, and from then I got on my knees, and I felt filthy, and I repented, and as much as I could, over and over, and I was afraid to, for a week and a half later to even think bad thoughts, but I backslid, but since then, about a week after I saw these videos, and I kind of backslid a little bit. I had these dreams that I was in hell. I had several hell dreams. The most vivid was I had looked at some porn one night, and I said my prayers, and I said, forgive me for my sins, whatever. But the dream I had that night, I found myself in this. It was like this. I immediately found myself in this field, like this. It was like not a lava field, but where it's the lava shows through cracks, but only the cracks are lit up because the lava's underneath. Maybe it's a ashy layer or something like that. Wandering, and well, not wandering. The first thing I remember was being in this plane of with that lava place, and being raped by this big bear. It was only for a moment, and I didn't experience it, but it was I knew it had happened, and then it kind of jumped around, and then from there it went to. I was inside this cabin. It was this huge plane. It was inside this cavern, but the ground had that kind of that lava look to it, ashy, but it was kind of dark. It was kind of an afterglow of red all around, and then there's one cabin in this huge plain cavern area. It was the only building, and there's these bears, I guess, wandering around. But from being raped, and I just had that. I didn't have any clear. It was just a flash, and then I knew it happened, and then I was in this place, this cabin, with all these other guys that were there. And there's this knowing that I was there because of masturbation, because of porn, or because of masturbation, lust. And I know because one of the guys next to me, we were all black. It was this black, but you could see out the windows, you could see the kind of red glow, but inside it was completely black. A lot of fear. I didn't feel the fear for much, but the thing that stuck out, as soon as I was there, the guy said, "Is this better if you let him finish?" I knew that he was talking about the bear raping. I guess that's just the thing that happens. You just get raped by this bear there, for just this one sin of lust. And the next thing I know, I hear, and then the scene jumped, and it's I guess we're inside the same cabin, but it lit up, and we were all just guys. It was like about 5 guys, I think, and we we were just kind of bored. I don't know. We were like fearful. We didn't want to leave, but we were just kind of like antsy, like just like it was like kind of like cabin fever, and it was it was weird. Like we started, all of us started changing into werewolves, and there was the same. I don't know. There's recognition. It was kind of like the sense that it was a result of, I guess, the spiritual result of masturbating or something like that. Like that's the way it translated in that place, and so we started kind of like just getting just and just feeding off each other's evil. Like we started feeling like I started feeling really, really evil. And next thing, I remember we kind of decided this. We decided this plan we needed to get. I felt like I was sent out to bring someone back to this place, a woman or something like that, and it was weird. It translated. It was like this hellscape, but then there's like this shimmery, orangey kind of vision thing of me going to this church, and I just remember seeing the outside of the church, seeing it, and then next thing I know I don't have memory of it, but I know I went there and I brought back a bride. She was wearing all white and she was black. She was African American. She was dressed like a bride, like at a wedding, and also there was a bridesmaid with her. She was also dressed in white. And this is the thing. Oh God. So I'm bringing them back to this cabin, and it's kind of like in this vision, but the vision kind of goes. It's like the vision was kind of like coming from the cabin, and it was still kind of like this shimmery, with the hellscape sort of in the background, but it was like the main view was like this this vision and I'm walking them back to this cabin. And I remember the bridesmaid was suspicious of me. She's like, there's something not right, but she kept on going. And I remember with the bride, I gave her a kiss, but the kiss was not a regular kiss. It was like urine, piss was coming out of my mouth into her mouth. And I don't know if that was like the corruption of the sin of lust, but after I kissed her, piss started coming out of her mouth, and piss was coming out of my mouth. And I remember that this is the most vivid thing about the dream as far as sense-wise. I could taste the piss coming out of my mouth. And then the next scene is where it got really fucked up, and I woke up shortly after. But as soon as we got to the door, I opened the door, and as soon as we stepped in, it was like whoever was inside the cabin, or and the three of us who were walking in, the two, the bride and the bridesmaid and me, from that shimmery place vision, a whole bunch of like demons streamed in through another door with chainsaws, and the whole atmosphere, it was like all of a sudden it was like red light, really dark, but it was like this red light, and it was like they were on us like in an instant. It was like they came in, boom, and they all had chainsaws, and everyone was getting cut up, and they were cutting up the bridesmaids and the bride, and then me. And the thing that fucked me up, the thing that messed me up was that I was like, the moment when they came in, I was like, oh, it's over. Like, it was so messed up. I was like, oh, okay, this is over. But he cut into my head. I didn't feel it, but I saw him cut in my head, and then I was still alive. And I was like, I'm not dying, I'm not dead. And I just freaked out, and I just saw him looking at me. It was just an instant. It was like a typical looking demon, you see like red horns and like tail, but they all had chainsaws. And then I woke up, and I had a couple other hell dreams. I guess like, I don't know. I think that's all I'll do for now.